Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Kay, back at it with a new video. In this video, we're going to talk about what's involved with being a property building engineer. We already talked about what is a property custodian, and then we followed up with a property service technician. Now, we're going to talk about a property building engineer. Now, a property building engineer, he can be over, let's say, he can be managing a nursing home, office building, a residential high-rise building, anything like that that requires to have somebody there that's well-rounded that can do a lot of things. Now, let's say if it's a large hotel, then you'll probably have a chief engineer, and then you will have engineers, and then you will probably have maybe a guy that does the painting. But in this video, we're going to talk about an individual building engineer, that he doesn't have a chief engineer on his property with him. He's mainly the guy. Now, he might have a custodian working with him. 9 times out of 10, he probably won't. He'll probably have like a cleaning company that comes in after hours to do all the offices or the upkeep of a residential building, something like that. So for the most part, he'll probably be there by himself. So let's get started. So what is a building engineer? A building engineer is someone that's responsible for a building. He's the man. And what are some of the responsibilities of a building engineer? Number one, he's got to be courteous to the tenants. Number one, he's got to be really nice and very professional, because he is the face of the management company. That's who they see. He's got to have at least a minimum of maybe 2 to 3 years of building experience as far as working independently in a building. He must have knowledge of a building, the workings of a building, and that's very important. He should be able to work independently or with a team. So for the most part, he'll be working independently, but it's going to be times where he'll probably have to work with a team, depending on how big the job is in his building that requires not just him, but several people to get the job done. He must be a self-starter, someone that's good at managing their self and their time, because that's very important, because you'll be responsible for so many things that you got to be able to space your time out accordingly. You have to be aware of what's going on in your building, whether it's dealing with mechanical, people issues, things that's breaking, things that's making noise, doors not closing properly as far as exterior doors, because you don't want people coming in after hours. So you have to be aware of your entry doors and the door closures and any mechanical device that opens the door at a certain time and locks them at a certain time. The engineer must be aware of that. He's got to be on call, because you may get a call in the middle of the night that the fire panel went off. And so you have to get dressed and race down to your building to find out what's going on. You got to be aware of your HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. You have to be able to monitor that throughout the building, whether it's one big unit for all the rental places or offices, or It's just for the common areas. But either way, you have to be on top of that. I used to monitor my systems daily. That would probably be the first thing I would do when I would come to my building. Walking up to my building, I would inspect the outside of the building. And then once I got in the inside of the building, then I would go to the lobby and check my fire panel for any trouble signals. And if that was okay, then the next thing I would do, I would go up to the roof and check my heating and air conditioning system to make sure that was working properly. And nowadays, everything is going to automation. So the building engineer would have to know a little bit about automation just to run his system. The next thing you want to do is be aware of your exit signs and your exit signs and your emergency lighting. You want to make sure that you don't have anything obstructing hallways. So in case of emergency, people not tripping and falling over things. You want to make sure that your elevators are working properly. So you want to check those. You want to make sure that all your lighting is working. A building engineer is responsible for any work orders. You want to be well versed in your skills as far as electrical, roofing, in case you have a roofing issue. You want to be able to temporarily patch it until you can get a roofer to come out. You want to know a little bit about painting. If you have to paint an area, you have the training to do so. You want to know about locks, commercial locks, whether it's rekeying them or having the lock service or just doing a temporary repair on locks. You want to know how to do that. You want to know how to patch drywall, put some mud on it, sand it, and paint it. You want to know about kitchen sinks and bathroom sinks, how to rot them out if they get clogged. You want to know how to unclog a toilet or possibly rot out that toilet, being able to take it off the floor and rot it. You want to know about lighting, whether you need to install another light fixture or repair the existing light fixture. You want to know about hot water heaters, whether you need to replace what's called an element in the electrical hot water heaters or the gas type. You want to know a little bit about it, how to repair it. You want to know about sump pumps. You want to make sure your sump pumps are working. So you would periodically test your sump pumps just to make sure that they're working. You want to, what else? You have to deal with the inspectors to come out to your building. You might have to do a walk around with him to check the building itself or anything existing. You might have a fire inspector come out and he want to look at the panel and look at some other things, look at the fire doors, So it's endless of the responsibilities of a building engineer when he's running a building. You have to do your pump test, and that requires a company to come out to make sure your fire system, pump system is working properly. So you want to make sure that you're well versed in the procedures of that. You want to make sure that you're on top of all the materials that come to the building, that you have it in order, that you know what you have in stock, what you don't have in stock. You want to make sure if you're handling the cleaning materials for the cleaning company, you want to make sure that you know what they have in their room, so people aren't just ordering things. And it's saving money because This way people aren't just ordering stuff that doesn't make sense. You want to make sure that your bathrooms are working properly, the common areas, and then as well as the tenants. If you get a call that something isn't working, you want to know how to repair the bathroom, anything that goes down in the bathrooms, you want to know how to do it. You want to know how to do some flooring. You might have to patch the floor or replace a section of the floor. You want to know how to do that. So there's are so many things that's involved with being a building engineer when he's or she's running the building. Now let's talk about pay. Well, it depends. Like I was saying in my other videos, now management companies are trying to lower the price of what they pay their team members. And you heard all the stuff that I just named, and I'm sure I missed a lot of stuff. But you are responsible for a lot of things, but they're not paying you accordingly. And I think what building engineers have to do is the responsibility you have. You're dealing with plumbing, electrical, painting, locks. The list just goes on and on. You have to be well versed in all of those areas, which means you should be paid accordingly. And I think that's on an individual basis if you're not in a union. You have to, when you sit down at that table to discuss salary, you got to be honest on what you feel you're worth. And if not, then, maybe that's not the job for you, because you would have so many responsibilities and you would be involved with so many things, dealing with contractors that come to your building, getting estimates, calling people out. So your hands are full with a building, because that's your baby. And you want to make sure the outside is tight as well as the inside of the building is tight. So, I think, as a building engineer, you got to know what your worth is. So those are some of the things that's involved with being a property engineer. He's responsible for a building, whether it's a senior building or office building or a residential building or a facility. He's the man. So let me know what you think about that, and if I missed anything. And the next one, we're going to talk about what's involved with being a chief engineer. So I look forward to seeing you when I do that video, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys.